All right, let's welcome back to the FPL One Percenters Podcast. It's been a relaxing international break, but it's very exciting to be back and very excited to be joined by Hammer and Kazim. Hammer, how are you, sir?
Not too bad, man. I just don't agree with the relaxing international break. It's been tense seeing all the injuries and COVID.
Yeah, no, it has been quite stressful to be fair. Kazim, how's it going?
It's been good, I guess I'm a bit of the opposite of Hammer. I've used it to not look at FPL for a bit, just because I know it's too much going on, too much uncertainty, changing day by day. So it took a bit of a sabbatical.
Yeah, no, it's been a bit hectic. It's been good in a sense. I've enjoyed it on a Friday night, sort of not having to worry or not setting an alarm on my phone to miss any deadlines or anything like that. But if anyone is missing their FPL fix, we did an interview with a real life FPL champion. Hass and Hammer were in that interview with Yusuf, who was a 2017-2018 champion. If you haven't seen it, please make sure to check it out in the link down below. Also, thanks for joining us again. Like, subscribe, comment. And yeah, that's all the admin. Guys, last game week feels like ages ago, though.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks.
Yeah, it feels so long ago. Like Liverpool played City as well, right?
Yeah, I think that game was nice in the first half. Everyone was expecting something to happen in the second half, and then just died out.
Yeah, I missed the second half. I missed the first half, and I said I'll go home and watch the second half.
Yeah,
it was a bit of a waste of time, to be honest. Just a bit of an idea of how we're going to do it today. Slightly different than our regular shows. Essentially, we're going to look at what we would do if we had a wildcard or sort of wildcard draft team and discuss the options around it. If you're thinking about doing a wildcard, what you could do about it, how to deal with the Salah injury, what our thoughts are. Even we, the three of us, generally can't agree on what we should do with the wildcard team. So these are just our opinions. It's based on our team value as well, so it might be different for you guys. But yeah, guys, how much do you wish you still had your wildcard, though?
I think Kazim has his.
Well, I still have mine, and I'm still going to be patient with it for one more week, just learning from the two gentlemen above me or below me's example. There's still a lot of uncertainty with international break, and I still feel like a couple of surprises are on the horizon. So I'm going to wait it out, even though there's a lot of damage in my team. I think it's best to wait maybe 1 or 2 more weeks before I pull the trigger.
Like with everything that's happened, it's like this week looks like it's going to be kind of bad for everyone. So it's not too much. Like you don't have to rush to a wild card. I feel like you could now wait till like double game weeks or anything like that if you wanted to.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of problems for most teams. Could change by Friday, but as of now, I think if you have a team with no yellow or red markers, you're probably pretty lucky. But I think most teams, it's like Christmas lights going off, where you have red, yellows, every color in the rainbow on your team right now. So I'm gonna wait out, and hopefully we get back to a consistent game week coming up.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Shall we jump straight into it?
Yep, let's go.
We're going to talk about big talking point, our boy Mo Salah and his wedding, but we'll come to that later on in the midfield when we discuss midfield. Well, how we're going to do it is going to reveal the team bit by bit, so defense, midfield, attack, and that way it'll give us time to talk about each of the different positions. Let me throw this onto the screen. There we go. And that is the defensive draft that we've looked at. So we've worked off of my team and tried to bring in I'll talk to the defense keeper. We've got Martinez in there. They've got a good run of fixtures. Seems like probably the best option. The only other one I could think of is McCarthy. Guys, thoughts on Martinez in goal? Is there any better Aston Villa defensive option who's better than having Martinez?
I think it's the same, whether you have Konsa or Martinez. I think the duo you have here, the Southampton defender and then the Aston Villa goalie, I think you can flip that too. You can go McCarthy and Konsa. That might save you maybe 0.2, 0.3 million, right? In case you want that budget. But I think those two are key. You need a Saints defender or a goalie, or a Villa defender or goalie.
Nice. Yeah, it can make sense. Kazim, thoughts? We got Chile in there.
Yeah, it looks like pretty balanced, I would say. Like Lamptey, even just having him there, Southampton coverage, Aston Villa coverage. The only one I'm a bit shaky on is Cancelo because I believe Mendy is back, so there may be some rotation there.
Yes, I am quite. I'm concerned about that as well. Like, as in, they've got a decent back line at the moment, but they have Zinchenko coming back. They have Mendy, like you said, coming back. So it's a bit of a risky one. It creates a lot of chances, and he's really
Yeah,
good going forward as well.
Yeah, it's probably one where I consider him at a same risk level as potentially Reece James, where in the sense that when he plays, you're gonna get good returns, but you just need to have a potential backup if he does get rotated.
Yeah, I think this season the thing about City's defense is you can see Pep's settled. Like he has Laporte and Diaz in the center back. He has Walker on the right. He tried Mendy for the first few weeks. Tried Zinchenko, didn't work. Nice Cancelo, right?
Yeah.
So you can see him sticking there. But as long as you have a sub, because he's not going to play every game, right? He's not going to play every game. So as long as he plays 4 out of the next 6, you're good.
Yeah, it's true. It's like also Pep is trying to tie up his Champions League qualification. He said we want to qualify as soon as possible. So if it comes that they win their next Champions League game, that'll be 3 out of 3, and then he'll try and play a stronger team in the Prem. Yeah. I mean, Cancelo right now is in his stronger team, but with Walker Peters and Lamptey, I feel like Lamptey is a must. Not a must, but like I feel like he's quite important to have. He's got me 9 points last week. And between him and Walker Peters, you could probably like play the fixtures kind of depending on who has the easier opposition.
Yeah, and he's always in the box, so he's always good. Yeah,
and he gets injured around 70 minutes as well.
Yeah.
And he's always 75% for the week after.
Yeah, I should mention that a lot of people will have Kilman, so maybe instead of Mitchell, they might have Kilman instead of Lamptey. Yeah. It's still a good option, but it's similar to Cancelo. As long as you have Saiss, you have Nouri, and then you have Johnny coming back, you'll have the occasional game where Kilman won't start.
Yeah, true. It is a shot. So if you have 4 defenders of whom like 3 are going to play every week, you're good. 5 who play, I wouldn't sink too much money into it. If you were going to go for a budget option or save a bit more money on Cancelo, I'd say Cresswell is another shout. I've got him in my actual team, but he's created the most chances, I think, from all the defenders. He's on set pieces, free kicks, corners. Not that we should fall into the trap of just looking for defenders who offer attacking returns, but I think he could be a shout as well.
Yeah, and Castaña's coming back if in case you want to go higher up.
That's true.
From Leicester.
Oh yeah, that could be a shout. It has to do premium defenders. Oh, sorry guys, Haas is on international break this week. That's why it's just the 3 of us. So don't be too concerned. He will be back next week. I know a lot of the fans are asking, Kazim, a lot of the fans are asking about you on Yusuf's interview. No one asked about me, but it's fine. We have a VIP special with Hammer and Haas. Is Chilwell really injured?
No, actually, he's back in training with the England team. So whether he plays in the England game, I don't know, but he's definitely back in training for England. So I think he should be. You'll get obviously probably a more definite answer on Friday, but I think he'll play. And even if he doesn't, it's not a long-term thing. So still, I think a good pick to have. And as you saw, I think who did they play? Sheffield on the weekend or last weekend. Yeah. Definitely the most attack-minded, I guess, left back in the Premier League right now. He got lucky with the goal, but he
got himself in the box in that position to kind of create that chance for himself as well.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'm just debating. It's always it's a question of when to do that transfer, because you don't really want to, if you don't have a wildcard, for example, and you don't have Chilwell, it's one of those where you want to find other fires in your team, but at what point does he become a must have? Like if you're missing out.
If you have Trent, I think it's a guarantee, must transfer to do, because
so I did Trent. To be honest, I did Trent to Cresswell, because I have Reece James. So I'm like, I'll upgrade Reece James at some point. But then they play Newcastle this weekend, and that looks so enticing. I thought about doing a double up or Chilwell and James combo, but I don't have the heart for it, to be honest.
Yeah, so not to jinx anything, but I saw a stat right with Newcastle, and out of the last 7 games, they've won 5 and drawn 1 against Chelsea, right?
Okay,
So
nice.
I'll get those stats. I think they've scored like 20 and conceded 5.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah,
Amazing.
I wouldn't just write them off against Chelsea.
Nice. Yeah, and they're above Leeds, they're above United. Like they're doing well this season, to be fair, and they're hard to beat. But speaking of which, I'm going to move on to midfield because I feel like we'll have a lot more to talk about.
Yeah.
As well. So let me move on swiftly. So this is the midfield we've come up with. Now, disclaimer, like I said, is we don't know the situation with Salah because as we're filming this, he hasn't sort of come back. He's having a 3rd COVID test as well. And we'll see what happens. Most likely he's not going to play this weekend, but how long? My advice would be sort of, I don't know if you guys agree, but if he's missing 1 week and you have him in the team, you don't have a wild card. And if he's missing just a 1 week and Klopp's like, yeah, he'll be back in next week. You don't want to waste that transfer, take him out and then bring him back in. Unless you are extremely happy with the rest of your team. But I don't know, Kazim, I know you're of a different opinion slightly.
Yeah, like I guess it depends what you're trying to look for in the team. So 1 second here. Sorry, can you just repeat what you were mentioning earlier?
Basically, Salah, taking him out 1 week and then bringing him back the week after. I know you're doing that, but that's because you're not losing much team value or you're thinking about doing it.
Yeah. So for me, I guess I brought him in last week for a -8 actually. Sort of paid off. Obviously, if I knew he was going to get COVID or potentially be out the next week, probably wouldn't have done it. But that being said, given I probably lost money already on him, it doesn't hurt for me to do a 1 week punt with Bruno, especially because I can pretty easily transfer him back into my team. And I think Bruno plays West Brom. So for that 1 week, I'm willing to take it as long as I guess you don't have other problems in the team. If you have other problems, then sort of focus on those. But if not, it's worth the 1 week sort of try.
Yeah, fair enough. Hammer, what do you think of De Bruyne? City have got decent fixtures after. I think they play Tottenham, which is in itself not a terrible fixture. So what do you think of the balance in the middle? I mean, Podence we're going with 3-4-3, by the way, just for anyone. We're assuming a 3-4-3 formation, which is what most of us play. So there'll be 3 strikers. But what are your thoughts, De Bruyne?
Yeah, they play Spurs next, and then they play Burnley after that. And as we have seen without the fans, it's whether you're playing home or away, it's pretty much the same thing, right? It doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
The thing is that we're still in an uncertain situation. We don't know which team's going to go out there and score 5 goals this weekend. Will it be City? Will they keep scoring 1 goal and not conceding any?
Yeah.
If that's the case, especially against 2 teams that we know will park the bus. We know Spurs will play on the counter. We know Burnley will play on the counter. So especially for those 2 games, I'm willing to wait and see how De Bruyne does. If you have a wild card, no harm in bringing him in, right? Yeah. If you don't have a wild card, I'd wait. Just wait and see how City do.
This is interchangeable with like Sterling and all the rest of them. The one thing as well I heard, which is quite interesting, is there was a stat around how teams perform versus the big 6 and how they perform versus like the rest of the 14 teams. And most of the teams were kind of balanced. The ones that had the biggest gap, as in they beat the low teams by a lot of goals, and they score a lot less against the bigger teams, were City. So like it could be like an indication that watch out because they might start scoring 3 and 4 soon. I think I don't know. What do you think, Kazim?
Yeah, I think it's really, if like Hammer said, if you have the wild card, do it, just because after I think game week 10, their fixtures really like turn really nicely. I think they play Burnley and Fulham and a bunch of other lower tier teams. So if you're wild carding, I would do it. But if you're looking just for this week, it's probably best to like hold off on that, just given it is a tough fixture still for them. And I think even last year Spurs beat them, so there's a good chance that could happen again. So I'd hold off a week and then see how it goes for
That makes sense. Sorry, I'm just jumping back to Ziyech. Do you think he's the guy? I think he's the guy. I think he's a must-have, to be honest. This is a midfield without Son, basically, who I have in my squad at the moment. But you know what? They are playing difficult teams, Spurs, and they do play on the counter. So between Kane and Son, if you have both of them, right? This draft, just full disclosure, doesn't have either. But if you have both of them, which one are you holding? Which one are you dropping?
I'm keeping Son.
Yeah.
Kane's so expensive, and I think you can get better value up front.
Mm.
And you could have seen the way they play is, especially on the counter, Kane comes in and then feeds Son and whoever's on the right side, whether it's Moura or Bale. So you're looking at Son or the right winger for the counter attacks. So I'm looking at Son over Kane.
Nice. Kazim?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Like, it depends.
It's tough to ignore the numbers, right? Like, you can't ignore the fact that, listen, last 2 weeks, Son is blanked.
Yeah. I think, if you're wildcarding, once again, it's probably advised you just keep one of them, not both of them. And for me personally, if I was wildcarding this week, I would probably keep Kane and drop Son, just because I think there's, in that premium level, there's a bit more options in the mid than the strikers. Strikers, you're getting a lot of options in the lower tier range, so you can sort of I guess move your money around a bit more there. But yeah, it's just a tough one, just because I mean they've been so explosive the last few games, and then everyone brought them in for this 3 game week period where they played Brighton, who is it, West Brom, and then who they play most recently?
Fulham? No, not Fulham. But yeah, they had 3.
Burnley, those were the 3 games. Yeah,
they had 3 on the bounce that were quite good. Is it fair to say that they didn't produce the way we expected them to produce? Like, if you kind of missed the train, like Kane gave you a goal every game, I think last 2 games, but like it hasn't been like the must-have we thought it was before.
Yeah,
and it's maybe like, is it Jose going back to type, basically? Like, you know?
Well, the thing to remember about Spurs is they are not an outfit that will go out and create 50 chances.
Yeah,
they will wait for their chance, right? At the beginning of the season, they got people cold when they started attacking with speed.
Yeah.
And now people have read that. So Brighton, West Brom, and Burnley set back. Like, they set back, they let Spurs come at them, and then they went after Spurs. Right? So Spurs struggled to create chances. But now when they're playing the bigger teams, it's the opposite, right?
Yeah.
People
it makes sense.
Spurs. Yeah.
True, it makes sense, and there's so much more value elsewhere. So you can look like a Bruno as a long-term hold potentially. With Grealish, I don't think we even need to go into it. Like, he's at this point, he's a must-have. I don't know. What do you guys think? We can move on. Podence, you could. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna say Grealish. Like, he just checks every box. In terms of eye tests, like in terms of obviously his stats.
You know what? I'm so biased. Like, we're so biased to not have. I didn't have him for so long, and it was just like a Villa bias.
Yeah. Well, I still don't have him, so.
He's gotten really unlucky, to be honest. Against Arsenal, he should have had like at least 15 points, and then even against who was it? Leeds, I think he had one cleared off the line. But then again, he got lucky, I guess, against Southampton, where he got
he's always there. He's always in for the action, basically.
Yeah.
Now, my question is, what are your thoughts on, for this fixture, and we say Grealish is a must-have, right? Does that make Watkins a must-have? I know we're moving on to midfield, but Podence, we'd say you can replace with any 5 million, 4.5 if you want to release some funds. He's kind of explosive. But yeah, talking about the attackers, would you double up on like a Grealish and a Watkins? Because if you have the belief that Grealish is going to bang 1 out of every 2, then surely Watkins should as well at some point. 1 out of every 2, if not 1 out of every 3. And he's a budget striker, 1 out of 3.
I personally
you look somewhere else. You don't like doubling up.
I don't know. If I look at his goals, okay, he got that one big game against Liverpool, where he got a hat-trick. And then he got a penalty against Southampton. And then I think this is his 3rd return against Arsenal. So I personally prefer like the Shea Adams pick or like a Bamford pick over Ollie Watkins, just because I don't want to double up on Aston Villa. That's just personally, I don't think there's value there. But if you don't have Grealish and you want Villa coverage, I think it's a good way into the team. It's just, I think, if you want to,
if you don't have Grealish, then why not?
Hammer.
No,
why do you have Grealish?
So I want to bring in Grealish too. Now I'm trying to use that as my differential pick. But
Okay.
going back to the double up,
Yeah.
the only way I would double up on Watkins is if you get rid of like your premium striker. So you get rid of like a Vardy, go with Watkins, and that gives you enough money to bring in a Salah instead of a Ziyech in midfield, right?
Yeah.
So that means
There is an argument.
that
Yeah,
midfield.
fair enough. There is an argument for like Calvert-Lewin being your most expensive striker this season, and you still being very successful with the season. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Vardy is very much a form player, like a fixtures and form player. Like if he's in form, he'll score on the bounce, So
Yeah.
after this game, I think they have this weekend is at Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a decimated Liverpool, so he might be in with a shout there. And then after that, the fixtures are quite good. But yeah, totally. Like there's so much value in the middle that if you want like a Mane or a Salah on top of this midfield, you would have to get rid of Vardy.
Yeah, so that's the thing, right? Like you have Ziyech, who played 2 games, done well in 2 games. People are, looking at him as the next Kevin De Bruyne. I don't know. To me, he looks like more like a David Silva. So I'm going to wait on him to see if he performs week in, week out. But yeah, like you have somehow you have to get some Liverpool coverage, and the only way I see it happening is if you drop your Vardy or you drop Fernandes and bring Salah back, right?
Unless you do you could be exotic and go Ziyech for Jota or something like that for the next few weeks if that's your kind of speed. The 6.5 million, but again, is he going to start every game? Are they going to be that attacking? You do not. I feel it's unsafe to not go with Salah.
I think with your wildcard, you want people who are confirmed. So this format's better. Like you take players who you know will play.
Yeah.
Jota is still a 50-50. You don't know if he'll start every game. He'll start this weekend with Salah out, right? But you can always look at the next 2 weeks and then make up your mind if you want to make one more move in 2 weeks' time, right? Without taking a hit.
Fair. Yusuf said that trust midfielders more than defenders. Trust midfielders more than forwards. So no, it's better to put your money into the middle. So like, if you were to drop a Vardy down to someone like a Shea Adams and then go Calvert-Lewin down as well, you could really upgrade that midfield if you wanted. I mean, there's lots of options available, and everyone's going to sort of make up their own mind. But this is just kind of, I guess, how we would do it or what our thoughts are, right?
Yeah. And now keep this in mind, like. Danny Ings comes back in 2 weeks, right? And he's already dropped down to 8.3. So he is at a very good value for somebody who scores like 20, 25 goals a season, right?
True.
So you're looking at Vardy at 10.1, Ings at 8.3.
Great shot. Kazim, any thoughts on this before we move on to dodgy differentials?
No, I guess like what I would do is, if I was wildcarding this week, I think Bruno's the right pick to have here for this week. And pretty much after that, you want to somehow fit in Salah or Mane, depending on which route you want to go. It's just very unsafe to not have him. So if I'm looking at this midfield right now, I would either keep 2 million in the bank and just take a 1 week punt on either Fernandes or De Bruyne. And then you sort of have to make room for them because it's too risky not to have them.
You can't play that game, honestly.
You can't have every player, so you got to cut your...
Yeah, and especially in midfield, it's hard. It's hard to not have every player, let's be honest, because you do want them all. There's so many options, man. We were going through it the other day. I think Hammer, I was speaking to you, and we're just looking at how many options are in the middle. But speaking of which, there's so many options. What are our thoughts on dodgy differentials for the week? I have gotten my boy Diogo Jota, filling that Salah gap is 9.4% on. They'll probably be over the threshold of 10% that we have by the weekend. But as of recording, he is under 10% on. He's only 6.5 million, if not 6.6. And I think he might do well against Leicester. He'll pick up something or the other.
Yeah, I went with Stuart Armstrong.
Nice.
Right, he's replaced Danny Ings up front with Shea Adams. Defenses tend to focus on Adams, so hopefully he can get on the end of it. He scored a goal last week or 2 weeks ago, so hoping he can continue. Yeah.
Nice. Because you've got Eze, right?
Yeah, he had a good week against, who did they play? They played
Leeds, right?
Leeds
was it? Yeah. So he had a good week there. He got lucky, you could say. He scored a really nice free kick, and I think he got an assist potentially. He looks to be back in the first team now. He was out for a few games, but now he's back in the squad. For me, this is really just a short-term punt, just because with Crystal Palace, they have Burnley, Newcastle, and West Brom as their next 3 fixtures. So very nice fixtures, and Zaha I just don't trust. So if you want to really target those Crystal Palace fixtures, which I think are pretty strong, he would be my pick.
Nice. Has went with Ollie Watkins. Great shout. We've already discussed sort of his potential and the potential for him to get points. As you can see, viewers, I'm catching up slowly but surely on Has. Kazim is just widening the margins. 51 points all along at the top. Has on 30, I'm on 26. Hammer is staying consistent. Well, Mope has given no one any returns except you that 1 week, honestly. It was a curse. But yeah, that's the sort of thing we are looking at for this week. Guys, captains, what do you think?
Captain.
Go with Bruno.
Yeah, if you have Bruno, that's a great shout.
Yeah.
I think Bruno is definitely a good shout. But I'm probably going to go with Werner, just because I like that fixture. I know Chelsea in the past haven't had the best record against Newcastle, but there are goals in the games. Like they don't generally get shut out from Newcastle. So I think, although it's a risky fixture in terms of us actually winning it potentially, I think there's definitely goals in the game, and we'll see.
I'll just correct my stats there. So it was 14 goals for Newcastle, 7 for Chelsea in the last 7 games against Newcastle. So 1 goal a game.
Okay,
well, both teams to score. Both teams to score is a good shout. But okay, amazing. I was just checking actually. There's no fixture on the Friday, so we have another extra 24 hours of tinkering, or at least 12. But this has been fun, man. Guys, I've got a lot of thoughts. I haven't made my one transfer yet, so I might. I'll use a lot of this advice going forward. Sorry?
Who's your captain pick?
My captain pick. It's a good question. I mean, surely. You know what? I'm struggling, man. Let me have a look.
Yeah, see, I have.
To be honest, I had to look too. Like I didn't. Just be.
It's been too long. You know what?
Yeah.
I might go Hammers if I keep him, because they've got Fulham away, which is not a bad shout. Or otherwise, just I don't have many options. That's the problem. So I need to see. Or I might double up whoever I transfer in our captain. So yeah.
This is going to be. I think a lot of teams are gonna have different captains this week. There's
there's no like standard option. So if you feel like there's someone that you feel is going to have a good game, or you have a gut instinct on someone, it's the week to go for it. There's no Salah. You can go Kane against City if you want, but if you have De Bruyne against West, that it's going to be probably cagey. But yeah, if you have a gut feeling on someone like a Werner or like a Grealish or Hammer, then please feel free. Vardy, that's a great shout actually. That's a great shout. Yeah, he could be one against Nico Williams, and God knows who they're going to draft in, man. Lovren on loan. But yeah, nonetheless, boys, good luck for the game week. Viewers, thank you for sticking around this long. Been a pleasure, as always. Like, subscribe, and comment. It means a lot to us. But yeah, any final words, guys?
No, just don't panic this week. I know everyone's looking at their teams thinking, let me take a -8, get rid of some players and bring them back. Like, don't panic. If you have enough, if you have at least 2 guys on the bench, just leave the bench and don't take a hit.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, stick to the long-term strategy. Don't go for like these short-term gains. Unless you really have no holes in your team, you can take a 1-week punt. But I would say, just stick through the long game.
Okay, amazing. Words of wisdom as always, boys. It's been a pleasure. Look after yourselves. I'll see you same time next week.